The purpose of my question is not to punish people who need help. The American people are the most generous people in the world.
In a closely watched moment during the Appropriations CJS hearing, Senator John Kennedy delivered a focused line of questioning to Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, zeroing in on two issues that are increasingly shaping national debate: the accuracy of poverty data and the effectiveness of federal broadband spending. Make sure you listen till the end, otherwise, you might miss it when it cuts off.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for being here. Mr. Secretary, the Census Bureau is under your jurisdiction, is it not?
Yes, it is.
And the Census Bureau is in charge of defining what it means to be poor or in poverty in America. Is that correct?
I think it does economic analysis for America.
But it also defines poverty level, does it not?
I don't know if it's the defining
Well, you need
Bureau.
to look, because it does.
Okay.
If you know, this isn't a quiz, if you know, what's the percentage of Americans who live at or below the poverty level?
I don't know the percentage.
Okay, it's around 11%. It's been constant. Now, when the Census Bureau defines poverty, they do it by income. You're aware of that. When the Census Bureau defines poverty using income, they only count income that the individual earns or cash income that the individual gets from the federal government. Is that correct?
Well, it includes all sources of their income. I mean, that is the purpose.
Yeah, their income and cash income from the federal government. Is that correct?
Oh, meaning does it include income that they receive from the federal government?
Yeah, cash.
I think so.
Yeah. So if a person makes $11,000 a year, that's considered toward poverty level. But if the person gets a cash payment, let's say in the form of SSI or TANF, that counts too. Is that right?
I'm not certain.
Yeah, it does. Okay. Are you aware that your agency doesn't count non-cash payments from the federal government defining poverty?
I am not.
Are you aware that your agency doesn't count refundable earned income tax credits, or food stamps, or housing subsidies, or utility bill subsidies, or Medicaid, or free school meals? They don't count that. They call it a non-cash payment, and it doesn't count. You aware of that?
It sounds to me that you and I are going to spend some time together and we're going to change it. But I did not know that, and it sounds like something that we should add.
And the purpose of my question is not to punish people who need help. The American people are the most generous people in the world. That's why we spend $1.4 trillion a year helping people that other countries would allow to die in a ditch. But your Census Bureau says it's 11% who live at or below the poverty level. That's a lie. It's 1%. If you count as any person with a brain above a single-cell organism would, cash and non-cash payments, they're above the poverty level. And we ought to be honest with the American people and thank them for getting the poverty level down to 1% instead of giving them a curb stomping and calling them selfish. Let me give you a real-life example here. Let's suppose you've got a mom and two kids. According to your Census Bureau, the poverty level for her is $27,000. She makes $11,000 a year, let's say. So she's below the poverty level. But she also qualifies for $3,400 in refundable tax credits based on her $11,000 salary, $9,200 in food stamps, that's for her and her 2 children, $9,500 in housing subsidies, $900 in utility bill subsidies, $16,000 in Medicaid, $3,100 a year in free school lunches, and $6,600 a year in TANF. That's $64,100 a year, tax-free. Is she living in poverty?
Doesn't sound like it.
No, but your Census Bureau counts her as being poor. I'm not saying take away her benefits. I'm saying give the American people a little credit. And I really think you need to change the definition to a definition that looks like somebody designed the damn thing on purpose. Final question, I'm going to hurry, Mr. Chairman. Why don't you just use satellite internet service? Why don't you just use Global Star or Starlink? You said the cost is $4,000 per person in Louisiana. For $600, you can buy a Starlink terminal. Why don't you just do that and do it across America and save a bunch of money?
The states were responsible for determining the best outcome, and sometimes fiber in a dense location can be economically better. Sometimes satellite does not work best on geography.
It can't be cheaper. That's impossible. Can't be cheaper.
Math is, each of the states did their best. We worked it out with them, and we moved on.
I just don't understand. You can buy, I'm not saying do Musk. There are others that just throw it out for bid. But $600 for a terminal versus $4,000 for fiber optic? This is taxpayer money. I'm done. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. Madam Chairman. I should have known it's you, Shelley. You're much nicer than Jerry. He would have cut me off.
Yeah, Senator Shaheen.
Kennedy opened with a fundamental challenge: how the government defines and measures poverty in the United States. On paper, poverty rates are calculated using long-established formulas. But Kennedy suggested those formulas may be outdated, failing to capture the real financial strain Americans are facing today. Rising living costs, regional disparities, and inflation all complicate the picture, and his argument was clear: if the data is flawed, then policy decisions built on that data may also fall short. Lutnick responded by standing behind the established statistical frameworks, emphasizing consistency and methodological rigor. But the exchange revealed a deeper issue, not just about numbers, but about trust. Increasingly, there is a gap between official economic indicators and how people perceive their own economic reality. Kennedy's questioning tapped directly into that disconnect. The hearing then pivoted to broadband infrastructure, an area where the federal government has committed tens of billions of dollars to expand access. The goal is ambitious: to ensure that every American, regardless of geography, can participate in the digital economy. But Kennedy raised concerns that the rollout is moving too slowly and may be bogged down by bureaucracy. He pressed Lutnick on a critical point: with so much funding already approved, why are there still communities without reliable internet access? It's a question that resonates strongly in rural regions, where connectivity gaps persist despite years of federal initiatives. Lutnick pointed to the complexity of implementation. Broadband expansion isn't simply a matter of funding, it requires coordination across multiple layers of government, regulatory approvals, and cooperation with private sector providers. Each of these steps introduces potential delays. While that explanation reflects the realities of infrastructure deployment, it also underscores Kennedy's broader concern that complexity can become an excuse for inefficiency. What made this exchange particularly notable was its broader implication. This wasn't just a technical discussion about data or infrastructure, it was a debate about accountability. Kennedy's approach suggested a demand for clearer results, faster timelines, and more transparent reporting. In contrast, Lutnick's responses reflected the challenges of managing large-scale federal programs in a system that is inherently slow-moving. The tension between those perspectives is not new, but it is becoming more pronounced. As federal spending increases, so too does scrutiny from lawmakers who want to see measurable outcomes. And in areas like poverty and broadband, where the stakes are both economic and social, the pressure is even higher. Ultimately, this hearing segment highlights a central question facing policymakers today: how do you ensure that government action translates into real-world impact? It's not enough to allocate funding or publish data. The real test lies in whether those efforts improve lives in a meaningful and visible way. And based on this exchange, it's clear that Congress intends to keep asking tough questions until it sees those results. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an update.